the 102.7 ESPN studios in Austin, Texas. This is the Jeff Ward Show.
Hey, welcome to our little show. Here's the way it works. I riff on stuff. You respond. Pretty straightforward. The phone numbers, wherever they are in the studio, we know the numbers are. We just don't know where the phone is or how to get it even. 512-834-1027. That's 512-834-1027. You want to follow me on Twitter? I'm not allowed to say X. Won't say it ever again. Been lectured on that countless times now. You want to follow me on Twitter? At Jeff Ward Show. If you want to post comments on Twitter, can't say X, do so. The rules are pretty simple. Please don't suck. Try to make the show better if you can. Get straight to the point. That's at Jeff Ward Show. Make sure you check out and subscribe to the podcast. We drop a podcast each afternoon. The Jeff Ward Show podcast is available wherever you download your podcasts. Make sure you check out the YouTube show as well, even though I look like Shrek. We put that out each afternoon as well. The Jeff Ward Show on YouTube. Subscribe to it. How about this setup? Certainly people in Austin can appreciate this. How about this setup? NFL owners have a shopping problem. They have such a control problem, such a spending problem, they're cutting up their credit card. They're trying to rein themselves in. They're trying to find ways to rein themselves in on spending. And it's not just spending. It's really specifically spending on quarterbacks. The position of quarterback in the NFL is the Austin housing market 3 years ago. It's out of control. Now, find a place you want to put the blame if you want to find some blame. I think they're trying. And then you have to ask yourself the billion-dollar question, and that is exactly how do you fix it, right? A rundown, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,260-square-foot house built in 1965 in West Austin would set you back close to $2 million. An underachieving quarterback with no playoff wins gets $56 million a year and $200 million guaranteed. It's out of whack. It's completely out of whack. Where's the correction? That's where we are. Or that's where they say they are. And it's getting weird, and I have a conspiracy theory for you. I can go slightly tinfoil hat. Something about the timing of this I find ironic at best. It just seems a little too convenient for me. But you can decide if you agree. So what's the best way to fix the issue, the spending issue, the out-of-control spending issue? Where is this correction going to come from? And I don't want you to lose sight, don't do it, of when this story is coming out. Do not lose sight of who is likely to get paid next. Don't lose sight of why this, why now. Yeah, why this, why now? Why right now? I have a twisted conspiracy theory for you. I don't know how to back it up, except the timing is just bizarre. Here's a quick economic overview so everyone can appreciate, the dilemma, the problem, the fix, where this is going to go. I think it runs the risk of creating a strike, if you want to know the truth. I think this is really about one guy and one organization, but if it were to spread, I think it runs the real risk of creating a strike, an NFL strike, and I know all about those things. So NFL teams are governed by the finances of what's called a hard salary cap. The salary structure for each team is about revenues generated by the league. Money that goes into a big pool that is split evenly, and that's how each team's yearly salary is set. The salary cap is greatly influenced, not exclusively influenced, but pretty close, greatly influenced by media revenues. The media revenues, platforms, TV, these are national deals. These are not local deals. These are national deals. This is ESPN coming in at $12 billion. This is Fox coming in at $20 billion. This is Amazon coming in at $40 billion. This is $100 billion in media platform deals. So the salary caps are taken from that money coming in. And those are going to be the salaries. So those media rights fees are going up dramatically, so it would stand to reason that salaries would go up dramatically. An owner can spend $255, I believe it's right around $255.4 million on a roster of 53. 54 if you need an extra quarterback. So you got about $256 million to spend right now, this coming season. It'll go up again. And so they always do that. I mean, those of you, you accountants, you know this well. You payroll people, you know this stuff fairly well, I guess. And so money coming in, salaries go up. So it's set for the year. 250, so remember that number, 256 for 53 players. That's a lot of money, you'd say. Man, what a deal. No wonder they're all rich. I would tell you they're underpaid. They're underpaid. They're not getting as much of the revenue as they should. More than they used to, but they should get a higher percentage. So what happens to the salaries of quarterbacks so far? Well, they've been on fire. The market is saying that's a house in West Austin. That's a redo. That's a teardown in West Austin. The market's out of whack. It's on fire. You can't sell them. People are paying cash for them. It's the Austin housing market 3 years ago. It's completely out of whack. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it is what it is. Value is what someone's willing to pay. The perfect example most recently is Trevor Lawrence. Not exactly Tom Brady, is he? He just signed a deal that guarantees him more than $55 million a year. Okay? He's going to make easily almost $300 million. That's Trevor Lawrence. I didn't say Tom Brady. I didn't say Patrick Mahomes. I said Trevor Lawrence, and that follows a pretty consistent trend. Just so you know, as of now, I say this as of now because I think the timing of this is convenient at best. I'm going tinfoil hat for you. Something's up. The 10 highest paid NFL quarterbacks for 2024 by yearly salary. Number one is Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow makes $55 million a year. Number two, tied with him, is Trevor Lawrence, who makes $55 million per year. Number three is Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. All these are new deals. He makes $53 million a year. Justin Herbert of the Chargers makes $52.5. Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens makes $52. Jalen Hurts of the Eagles makes $51. Kyler Murray of the Cardinals, $46. Deshaun Watson, you know him. He barely ever plays. He makes $46 million a year. Somebody by the name of Patrick Mahomes is ninth. He makes $45 million a year. Kirk Cousins, the man that just keeps finding money everywhere he looks, he makes $45. And number 10 or 11, if you want to count the ties on the list, is Josh Allen, makes $43 million a year. Okay, anybody new at the position who's any good at all, and that's debatable too, is going to make $50 million or more. That's the market. In other words, the market for good and very good quarterbacks is $50 million and above, easily. The trend is the next guy up will get even more. Let me say that again. The next guy up is going to get even more. The screaming sound you're hearing is Dak Prescott and his agent. And there's a reason for that. The timing of this is curious at best. The old man that runs the Dallas Cowboys, he's not wrong in this soundbite. He's not at all. I've been saying this stuff for a few years. People hate economics, and I think people hate the rest of football. They only care about who has the ball in their hands. But it's been, I'm not going to say economic suicide because there's no such thing in the NFL. It is payroll suicide in the NFL, and they're freaking out about it now. They don't know what to do about it now. Somebody in particular is really upset about this. So this is Jerry Jones. Ask yourself, who would benefit by new rules about quarterback salaries? Who would benefit the most if a new rule were put in about quarterback salaries right this very minute, who would benefit the most if a new rule were put in to restrict the salaries of quarterbacks? There goes the old man. He's not wrong in what he's saying.
It's we want to get all the help around him, but as we know, when you have a competitive paid quarterback in the NFL, then you're not going to be able to get the most skill around him. You're going to have to pick your spots, and you're going to be a little slower one year than the next year. Not slow in terms of speed, just at what you're doing. You can't pay that position. Forget Dak a minute. You can't pay that position at that level and take that much of the available dollars and then put the exact thing around him. When Dak first got here, we had one of the best offensive lines that, in my mind, that had been put on the field in a long time. And he had that. And so we had skill around him, especially offensively. Well, when you do what you do today and you invest in a quarterback the way you do with these premium quarterbacks, that is diminished. That's automatically has to be diminished. And so when you ask me the supporting cast around him, it'll be hard to get to a supporting cast the way he did when he started his career.
He's not wrong. Hey, Jeff Ward's been saying that for a few years now. That's this out-of-whack thing means that you have a 3-year run in you as an organization. You have a 3-year run. Plan on it. Live on it. That's exactly what the Houston Texans are planning on right now. They're saying, let's go all in right now. We have no idea what year 4 and 5 looks like. Probably not much, but I guess we better do it now. But there's a proposed fix. The timing of this proposed fix I find interesting at best. The timing of this proposed fix really benefits one guy and one organization. It doesn't benefit one guy who plays for that organization. So who would benefit most from a quarterback salary cap? Would that old man that was just talking and rambling aimlessly, would he not benefit tremendously by a new quarterback salary cap? Who would be hurt the most by a quarterback salary cap? That would be the quarterback who finished in the top 2 MVP voting last year, whose contract, oddly enough, is up this year. A quarterback to pass for more touchdowns than anyone in the league last year, including a top 5 on the highest paid list. That guy had better results than the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. So Dak Prescott is saying, man, I'm a redone house in Terrytown 3 years ago. I've got really nice finishes in West Austin. They're going to overpay for this. That's where I am right now. I'm at the top of the market. I'm at the peak of the market right now. And the market says $55 million per year, so he's thinking close to $60 million per year because that is exactly what the market is saying. Except there's an issue. Oh, you have 2 responses. One of them is going to be, well, who cares? You're right. If you're a bettor in a salary in a fantasy football player, you don't care about anything but quarterbacks. Right? Just points and catches and stuff like that. So you're going to say, who cares? And number 2, just don't pay him. 2 easy responses. Let me answer. The part about who cares, watch out for who cares, because I think you're going to care if you're a fan, and a bettor for that matter. Fans, bettors, and fantasy players should care, because the players in those locker rooms also care. The players want market value, and the fans, the bettors, and the fantasy players want star players. Dallas, led by Cooper Rush or Trey Lance, doesn't feel the same. You're going to react then. So you'll care. You'll care. Since people only care about quarterbacks, it is an obsession from fans to owners, owners to fans. They desperately want to live in West Austin. They'll do anything to live in West Austin. That's what this is. The part about don't pay, well, just don't pay them. You old guys with all the money, just don't pay them. That'll fix it. You don't want to pay that much for a house in West Austin? Okay, you're going to move to Hutto. There, problem solved. Okay, Cowboys fans, face painters, say hello to your starter, Cooper Rush, or Trey Lance. Hi. Hey, Cooper. If Dak Prescott is the redone house in Terrytown with all the new upgrades, then Dak Prescott is the market. He's the market going forward. The owners went crazy. I've been predicting this for a long time. And I didn't see them going to the brink of, I think, possibly creating a strike, which would be interesting. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how the players would react to this. So they're afraid. It's such a weird setup. Owners overpay because they're afraid of quarterback purgatory. They look around and say, yeah, I know he's... Look, do I think Trevor Lawrence deserves to be the highest paid player in the game? No, he doesn't. But what if I don't have him? I'm going to be the Chicago Bears. I'm going to be in quarterback purgatory if I don't have him. And so out of pure desperation, they're paying guys and hoping it works out. They're hoping they have the next C.J. Stroud. They're hoping they have the next Mahomes. They're hoping they have the next Dak Prescott. And so they need to be near downtown. So they're going to buy West Austin no matter what. So Dak Prescott's the market going forward. The next buyer is going to outspend the last buyer. In their mind, demand is far greater than supply. That's the market. And there's one left. There's one left. This conversation is happening with one big signing left. Don't you find that and the timing a little bit strange? This is Tom Pelissero, who covers the NFL for the NFL Network. Duh. Like, what else would you cover? Golf? And he's good. And he's sharp. And he's on with Rich Eisen, which we carried that show, which is smart, too. It's nice. And he brings up this idea that somehow the idea's been floated of a quarterback salary cap. In other words, you have a salary cap for the team at $255 and some change. Well, things are so out of control, the spending is so whacked out, the credit cards have to be cut out so badly that maybe we ought to put that thing in place. Why this? Why now?
You know, there certainly has been discussion within the league, Rich, among certain owners about even the idea of a quarterback cap, that at some point you want quarterback numbers to not go over a certain percentage of your salary cap. To my knowledge, that really hasn't gained traction, in part because so many teams have paid their quarterbacks. And if you went to suddenly an NBA model where all of a sudden you have the max and the super max, and there's really only a couple levels that guys can get paid at, it kind of changes the dynamics in terms of how you set yourself up salary cap wise and whatnot. So absolutely, there's been a discussion about exactly what you're talking about, which is how are we paying this much money to this position and to certain guys just because they're the next one up? And that's where that Trevor Lawrence contract for some people is going to be one of those moments where Trevor Lawrence matching Joe Burrow as the highest paid player in NFL history, given a little bit of the inconsistency we've seen from Trevor Lawrence, the fact that he and the Jaguars did not play well down the stretch last year, it does give some people pause, but it's also a reflection that the quarterback market, like the salary cap, is going to continue to go up. So the longer you wait, the higher these numbers are probably going to be, absent what you're talking about, which would be some team convincing a player to take a sub-market deal, which is really hard to do in 2024.
Just keep thinking this through, everyone. Just keep thinking it through. Headline on SI.com says NFL owners discussing quarterback salary cap amid growing contracts. The first sentence is, the billionaires have had enough. Wait, well, what if you're one of the other billionaires and you've paid your guy? Who's still left to get paid? Is anyone not noticing the timing of this? Who's left to get paid? Can you think, everyone? Why would this idea be floated right now? Why? Why this? Why now? I mean, the other owners are going to say, well, I wish we had this before I paid my guy. I'm already on the hook for $275 million for a guy that I don't even know if he'll win a playoff game. where did this come from and why? Now you have to put yourself in a different spot. One, wouldn't Jerry Jones benefit from a quarterback salary cap right about now? Like right now? About 3 weeks before they start training camp. Don't you think that timing is a little weird? You think pushing this, if you're going, come on, Warner, you got a tinfoil hat going on here? You think pushing this is beneath him? Really? Are you kidding? Nothing is beneath an NFL owner. Nothing. They are the most powerful cartel in the world. And one of them is thinking, crap, he's in big trouble. I've been telling everyone. Now think this through. Okay? Not only is Jerry Jones faced with this out-of-control market that's going to pay his quarterback if the market follows. And when he buys the house in West Austin, he's going to overpay. So he's going to get – the market says you have to pay him $60 million. Dak Prescott is thinking $60 million. Dak Prescott's agent is thinking $60 million. Dak Prescott's new baby is thinking $60 million. That's the market, and accepting anything less would kind of suck. I'm pretty sure 3 years ago somebody didn't say, I know you think that's too much in Terrytown. You know what? Why don't we cut it in half? No one did a deal for you. That's what the market was telling you, and the market was on fire. So Jerry Jones, have you noticed he's looking older? And that's not a good thing. Have you noticed he's looking older? He's looking a lot older because he has a giant problem. That's why I don't think this is an accident that this is being talked about right now. His problem is bigger than anyone else's. And it's not manufactured only by Jerry Jones. The criticism, of course, has been, hey, man, you should have taken care of this and signed these guys before you got to this point. Here's his problem. Here's his economic problem that is going to, the team you watch now is going to be trash in a couple of years. Let me tell you why. So he has the 3 most glamorous positions in football. Probably 3 of the 4 most expensive positions in football are all up to get paid at the same time. So think it through. He's got Dak Prescott. He's got who's going to be a top 3 salary. I didn't say he's a top 3 player. I just said he's a top 3 salary because that's what the market will do. If Trevor Lawrence gets X, Dak Prescott gets 1.5X. So he's got that. Now, he's got a top 5 wide receiver who's holding out already, who's going to demand top 3 money, and he should. He then has a top 3 edge rushers. The 3 most glamorous positions and expensive positions in football are all up to get paid right away for Jerry Jones. Oh, but let's just do it, Jeff. Let's do it. Okay. Pay them all. Go ahead. So he pays all 3 of these star players at star salaries, what the market will bear. So let's say you paid, Dak Prescott gets his 60, CeeDee Lamb gets 25, Micah Parsons gets 20, 25. I know it's crazy numbers. Don't try to make moral sense of it. It is what the market will bear. I'm telling you, they're underpaid. They should get a bigger chunk of the media deals. They should. They should make more. The owners are crushing them in terms of margins. Okay, so let's just say what's going to happen with Dallas right now, and the old man knows it. Half of his payroll, of his entire payroll, is taken up by 3 players if he paid them. And he can't. So wouldn't Jerry Jones benefit from a salary cap, quarterback salary cap? You think he wouldn't benefit from that? So you know what? I wonder if the agent for Dak Prescott, because this idea is being floated, and I would be awfully skeptical and cynical. Why this? Why now? Where did this come from? Knowing everybody else has been paid, there's only one dude left in the equation. Why this? Why now? I would assume the agent for Dak Prescott reaches out to the Players Association and said, listen, I want to give you a heads up. If the old man and the others do this before my guy gets his deal, you guys need to push for a strike. I don't know if they would, because they're greedy, but it's probably a deal maker in many ways. I mean, deal breaker. So the problem Dak Prescott's agent is having right now is that everybody was due a payday has gotten it. His guy hasn't. His guy's up to get his. If you're his agent, what do? You sign now? You knock on the door, you say, you know what, old man, let's just get this done now. Is Jerry Jones, you think he's dropping this hint? This thing came out of the sky? You think this conversation and the timing of this conversation was purely accidental? You think it's not intended to say, you better sign now or else something's going to be put in place? What would you do if you're Team Dak Prescott? You can bet on yourself, bet that something like this doesn't happen. You go into the season, you risk an injury, driving down your value. You risk having a bad season, driving down your value. Or you sign now and get near the top, probably. Just say, oh man, let's just do this right now. You're going to play in a lousy team, by the way. You're going to be the quarterback of a lousy football team in 2 years. Offensive team is going to be terrible in 2 years. What do? What would you tell your client? And I'm scared. I'm worried. This old guy will try anything. It's not beneath these owners to try to impose a quarterback salary cap. The players won't strike just for one guy, and they're not going. They all got paid already. Dak, what if they do this? It would suck. It's a bad move. It's uncool. It's uncool even mentioning it. So, one guy hasn't been paid. What would you do? What do you think old man does? And do you think this whole conversation is purely accidental?
Jeff Ward, weekdays on 102.7